Hi everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the new Sandling Junction. Now, I am following on from a video I did a couple of weeks ago, introducing you all to the brand new Creality Falcon 2 Pro. This is the 22 watt version. So let's roll the intro and let's see what I've got to say about it today. Welcome back everybody. As I said just now, I am following on from a video I did a couple of weeks ago when I introduced you guys to this lovely new laser engraver from a company called Creality. It's the Creality Falcon 2 Pro. Now this one is a smaller one of the two. It's not smaller in any way, shape or form other than the laser head that is attached to the arm inside there. That's a 22 watt laser. And there is a 40 watt laser with a secondary 1.6, I think it is, watt laser that goes with that one. That bundle's more expensive. This one is the lesser bundle. But when they sent it to me, I was in awe because I just really wanted one that had all these safety features. So I sort of jumped straight in and did a video showing that tunnel portal, which I've still got to finish actually. So I'm working on it, don't worry. But I jumped straight in and I did the video, and they were really pleased with the video that I put out to you. And hopefully a few of you have sort of looked at Creality now and maybe decided to jump off the fence if you've been thinking about getting a laser engraver and maybe jumping from one of these big boys. And yeah, so anyway, they said to me, lovely video, but would you do another one talking about the camera and its operation? And I hadn't actually done that at all, I don't think, in the last video. So that's what this video is about. I've actually sat down and I've worked with the engraver and on the computer in Lightburn to describe to you in quite a bit of depth that if you bought one of these, how you would set up, calibrate, and make all the adjustments needed to make the camera work for you and well for you. Because at the end of the day, that a camera above here has got so many advantages, and just a couple off the cuff is that, and you'll see me do this during the course of the video, but if you've got sort of off bits of timber, this is just an off piece, but and I cut something from it, and I actually did some burn tests for it as well. So I've done a lot of that on different materials, and that's a good idea as well. We'll get into that another time. But if you've got a piece of material like this, then you don't want to just throw it away. There's some very useful bits on here that you can actually use. And if you have the camera set up properly, then it is an easy way to use up bits and pieces of material, as well as understanding what's going on during the engraving process and all these other things. So it is a major advantage. I mean, there are so many advantages on this thing anyway. But the camera is just one of them, and I wanted to go into the process, which is probably about 30 minutes of playing around with different settings and just going through a process that is actually so clearly indicated and well produced by the company in the software that you can't really make a mistake. You just do what it says next, and at the end of it, you've done, and that's it. So anyway, enough of that. I'm going to get on with it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something from it. And if you are getting off the fence and thinking of buying a laser engraver, I can't recommend one of these enough. And this video, I'm sure, will help you out as and when yours arrives and you start and want to use it. And in the meantime, I'm going to get on and do those tunnel portals that I engraved with this a couple of weeks ago. And I'm also, I've got so many thoughts up here that I want to do with this in the future. So we'll see what happens. Okay, first things first then, we're going to go up to the laser tools bar at the top here, click down, and we're going to calibrate the camera lens. That will bring up this area here, and we're going to look for the Creality Falcon camera. We're going to click that one. And we have got options here. Now what we're going to do, instead of the fisheye lens, we're going to go for standard lens, and we're going to click next. Now I'm going to bring this up this new window, and you have a guide here that will suggest where the camera will take a picture on this thing here. Now I've got the piece of basswood that came with the laser, and I have the printed card that also come with the laser, and it's suggesting that I put it in the center of my board. And I push the laser head out of the way. I'm going to put that roughly in the center there, and I'm going to click capture. But before I do, I also have quite a bit of light on the subject. You can see there's a slight shadow here, which does have an impact, and the head will not go further back. So there is a little bit of extra light coming from a camera spotlight that I've got over the top here. But I'm going to click capture, and it's going to give me a score of 0.05, which is great because it needs to be 0.3 or less, and with a score of 1 or less you can actually click continue. So we're well inside of that. So I'm going to click next, and we're going to go to, you see the position here has altered. So I'm going to move this down to the bottom, and having repositioned it, I'm going to click capture again, and it's come back with another 0.5 or 0.05, which is good. We're going to click next, and it's going to tell me that it wants the camera over on this side. So we're going to set this up again. So now we are going to take another capture, and that's gone to 0.07, but it's still in good shape. So we're going to click next, and it's now wanting one over here. So we're going to do that, and we're going to capture 0.07. We're going to click next, and go back to that. I think what it's telling me to do is that, pushing that at the back of my setup. Okay, so that's gone to the back, I believe. I'll capture that, 0.7. Now we're going to click next, and we're going to bring everything down to the front, down to here. I think I'm doing this correctly. If I'm not, someone will tell me. Let's capture that, 0.8, and we're going to go again. We're going to push that to this side. So capture 0.9. Next, I'm going to go up to the top. Move the head out of the way. Again. Oh, 1 point. What's that? 0.12. Yeah, well, I think we're still good. We're going to go again. And it wants to go over here again. Okay, it says we're finished. So now what I'm going to do is recommend that you run the camera alignment. So we're going to align the camera. Using that one, we're going to click next. The camera we want. Now you'll see here we've got a little burn operation here. Now I'm going to change some of these settings here. Let's go to next again then. 4:2. Line speed I think needs to come down. Air assist we'll put on. Fill power, line power. Line power, we're just going to increase that. I think that down to, maybe leave it there. I'm not sure how this is going to work because I've never done this before. but basically we're not cutting anything out. We are making a fill pattern, and we are making a sort of target, really. I'm going to bring that, I'm going to leave those where they are. All right, so, okay, there's a little thing there that says scale. It was set up at 182%, which is way bigger than the piece of board that I had. So I am now come back down to a scale of 102, which is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to close the lid. And I'm going to literally start it. And once it's done, we'll come back and see the result. Okay, that was quick. Right, now let's just see what we've got. Carefully move the arm back out of the way. Basically what you can see is exactly what is on the screen over here. We have this pattern with numbers and our little targets and a center target. So what we need to do now is we will go to next. There we go. Now we have well, use your buttons to jog your laser head to clear it from the camera view. Okay, I think that's done because I did it manually. Then we're going to capture the image. There's our image. And so what we need to do is go to next, because what we've got to do is close in on these images. So we're going to zoom in on clear marker 1 there. We're going to come in, move that down. There we go. Now I need to put in a little marker in here. I'm going to come in a little more if it will allow me. Oh, okay, well, it's a double click on my pad, so I think I'm happy with that one. And let's go zoom out, and we're going to go to number 2, and we're going to come in on number 2, and we're going to do the same thing again in center as best we can make it. There we are. I'm going to come back out of there, and we're going to go to marker number 3, which is this one. Where I think the center is. And we're going to come out of that one, and we're going to go to number 4. There we are. Next. We're done. We're finished. So we're going to finish that. The camera is now aligned and it is all set up. So all we have to do now is instigate its use and bring it into using in conjunction with our Lightburn software, so that we can see where our material is and all those other benefits that having a camera in your laser will actually bring to you. Okay, so once you've done everything and the camera is really set up, I've just flipped this material over for ease so it doesn't confuse with other parts of the video. But the thing you need to do is to go up to the window and to create or tick camera control. Now that will bring it up in a window over here. Now I couldn't figure this out first. Why does everybody else have a nice picture of their camera and what's going on and I do not? It's quite simple, really. That's where it will come up as a separate entity. And there is my little camera situation. It's so small that I couldn't figure it out. And if I was to move the material slightly like that and do an update overlay, you can see it's just moved everything. It's just taken a snapshot of where everything is. I just put that back and do the same again. You can see it's pretty much as it was. But the way that you increase this is to pick up this tab, drag it down, and when you see the layer underneath go gray, drop it in place and it becomes a tab here along with your cut and layers, your console, variable test, and all these other things. Now you can see if I put my hand in underneath, you can see exactly what is going on. You can set your material up where you want it and you can place that, you can update the overlay, and you know exactly where your item is going to burn and the material. That way, if you've got, you can see what we're on about. Now, if you've got a piece of material with a good set of, there's area here that you can use. Even in here, you could sort of set something up and put some other bits and pieces to cut and burn in here quite easily. You do not need to be wasteful as I was with this. It just needed a little bit more arranging. But again, you can set this up and you can have your project in here and it will overlay everything that's on this tabletop. So for instance, if I can find something, okay, now see if I can get this updated. There we are. So we have our project. I can show this or I can not show it. I can put the fade on so that I don't have, if you're up here you've got fade and show. That will take your camera out of the equation very quickly. It's still there, but here you've also got a fade. So turn it off and you very, very hard to see certainly some of your red lines and your black lines. So from that point of view, put the fade on. Everything becomes instantly more visible and you can then arrange certain parts of your, let's take that back out, I don't want that. Okay, so you can literally, you could take an area here and you can move that to somewhere over on your piece of wood if that's where you're working, and you can quite literally place everything. Let's put that there. Let's actually move that right over. In fact, let me just move that slightly better position to, it's a little bit off center. Let's overlay it again. Now we're cooking. All right, now let's just place a few of these things. I'm not going to do this burn, but it gives you an idea. We just come in a little bit, highlight a certain amount. I've highlighted too much, but I want to put that there. And then if I want to just take that one there, no, just take that one this way. Oh, come on. Right, okay. That's what I need to do. All right, so let us just put this over a little bit so I can see what I'm doing a little easier. Highlight that set, move that set to somewhere else. And I can quite literally, if I want to do this, take that to there, highlight those, bring those down, and I can quite easily just start using up scrap material without actually wasting too much wood at all. And you know, we all know that these materials can be quite expensive at times, but here we've got a situation where we've got a hole here, but all this burn will come out of this wood now. Let's just move this over. Again, I can see, I'm not going to get all of this tunnel portal out of one piece of wood, but you get the idea that you can actually take scraps of wood and quite easily nest certain parts of it in different places. You could take this one, for instance, not that bit, but you could take the whole of this one here, like that, and you could turn it around if it doesn't work for you. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Come on, there you go. I could spin it this way and make better use of something there. And I can move that straighten it up. So I'm literally using the camera that's built into the crossbar on the unit here. There's the camera just under there. And it's given me a perfect representation of the laser bed and the available area and the product that I've put on it to cut, and then I can overlay that with everything that I've got here and make best use of products. Or indeed, if I didn't do that, let's just come out of this for a minute, go back to this board here just for a moment and put that in. If I do an update overlay, there we go. Now you can see how I can set everything up here to best arrange it on this piece of board. Okay, so having discussed how you can use this camera, to see what's going on over here during the burn, but at the same time, by using the camera itself to plan and place all of your items to engrave or burn. Now, another thing is that if you've got something small, let's say I was going to do, and my wife already wants me to do this, and that is to make some plant labels. Now, she doesn't know all the different names that she wants on her plant labels, so I can quite happily go in and make a whole raft. I can make a plant label and I can duplicate it all the way down through here and here on this piece of board, and I can make a load of blanks ready to go. Now, if she says, oh, I would like to have one with the word chives and one on parsley and one on thyme, no problems. I just simply put this down here, update the overlay. It will show me exactly where they are on this area. And then I simply create the words by going over here to the word, and I can create the word and the font and everything I want to do. And then I can burn it exactly because I know the position. And this is where a camera in your laser engraver will really pay dividends. You don't have to guess anymore. On one of my older engraver, it sort of didn't have a camera, and you were guessing every time and doing all the frame tests to see where the items that you want to engrave, were they on your piece of wood? Were they not on there? Do you have to make an adjustment? Do you have to do something else? And you're constantly going back in and reframing, reframing, reframing. With this, you simply don't even need to frame in theory. If you get it set up, you get your material down, you place your items on it, off you go, engrave it, and yeah, that's it. So if you're going to get a laser engraver, make sure it's got a camera in it, because it will help you out so much. And I can't say how grateful I am that the Creality Falcon 2 Pro has got a built-in camera. So the next part of this project is quite simply, we're going to make loads of these, all right, on our piece of wood. Now my wood is 36 centimeters square because I was using on another machine with a smaller bed than this one. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you, once these have been cut out on the laser, how we take a couple of them, reposition them with the camera, and then I can put the engraved words on here, set them up as I want them, using the inbuilt camera for the Creality Falcon 2, and show you how you can best use all of these without having to sit here and work out each one in advance and possibly waste them if you don't need that one. Welcome back. Now what I'm going to do now is I want to put some names on these newly formed plant labels that I created for my wife. So I could have literally sat for ages and put a different name on each of the ones as you saw it in the original design where I cut 34 out, but that would have taken a long time to do. It could have been a waste of time if not all of those with those names were needed, and at the same time the burn and engrave time would have made it a 2, possibly even more than that, hours of engraving, which does tie you up somewhat. So the idea was to cut the blanks out, as you know, and then I can use the camera to set these up in light burn and with the Creality Falcon 2 Pro and get them cut exactly where I want them. So all I'm going to do first and foremost is create a square like so. Now that's not exactly the size we want, but I'm going to come in, and what I'm deliberately going to do is the overall length from here to here is 180 millimeters, 180 millimeters. So what I'm going to do, I think that's right, 18 centimeters, yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the square. I want to come in about, say, I don't know, 1 centimeter there. I don't want it right up to the back, and equally as much I don't want it right down in the point here. Most of this is going to be buried in soil there. And let's say 110. We need to get our plant wording within 110. I think that's reasonable. I think we can also alter it if we get longer words, or we can double stack our line of words. So let's just do that, and I think that we've got a situation now where we can put our words in. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, this we're not going to be burning, we're not going to be using that, but what we are going to do is build within it. So we're going to go to our word, which is the A on the left hand side here, and we're going to come up to see what font we want. Now I've already chosen one I think is quite nice, which is the Apple Chancery. There are many others on here that you could go for, but I do quite like this one. There we are. Okay, so that is now the word lettuce. It should be highlighting it. Up to the move tool, let's move that into place, and it wants to sit nicely. But if we are looking at this end over this end, so the closer we put it to there, probably the better it will be to give a little bit more putting that into the earth, as it were. And if the word is a tiny word, then there's nothing stopping us stretching the letters a little bit if we want to. And what I want to do is come to cut layers and layers, and I want to, instead of making this one the same color as this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one on a tool layer, which I think is that one there. Very hard to see, isn't it? So let's change that to a blue. It's still a tool layer, but we can see that blue outline. Now what actually happens with that is it will show, but it will not output. This shape here now is on a layer that will no longer output to the laser when it comes to the burn. It is merely being used as a reference guide. I know my word works well in that space. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to, if I can, I'm going to duplicate this one, and I should have another one of these like so. And in this one I'm going to put the word, I'm going to go back to the word here, and I'm going to kick in the word, what shall we say, French bean. Now you'll see that because I was in the last layer, I've done it as a different layer, and I don't really want that. So what I'm going to do to this one is, hopefully I'm going to highlight all of that, change that layer to a black. There we are. Now we can see what we've got. I'm going to reduce its width on the height like that, and I want to condense it down because we have to have it looking as though it will go in our little burn square there, or our little, and it's a little bit too far, it's a little bit over, so we're going to have to squish it a little more so it comes inside our 110, and we're going to squish it down a little bit like that, and I think that fits nicely. I can see if I just move the whole thing, so if I move the whole thing and highlight the whole lot, I'm going to see, so I've got there, I can see my blue line, I can see where my writing is set within there, and I think that looks fine. On this one, I'm going to set these to fill, both of them. So now we can see exactly where our engraving will be. But because of the blue line is just a tool layer, they will not burn, but they will help us in the next part of this process. Go back into here, and let's go back to camera control just for a moment. Come on, there we are. There's the camera control. You can see here that I've got my two items ready to go. So what I'm going to do is update the overlay. There they are, and I'm just going to crash out of this a little bit, come back down so I can see what I'm doing. There we are. So now there's the two items I wish to engrave, and of course my words are all wrong in relation to that. So what I'm going to do is pick up this one. There we are. I picked it all up, and I'm going to group that one now. So whatever I do, that little tool layer and these letters will move together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag that down here, and I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to put it exactly where I need it to be on my nice piece of wood. There we are. So that looks good. I'm going to bring it back just a tad more, and my blue lines are pretty much lined up on the edges of there, like that. So that's one. Let's do the same with this one. Let's highlight the whole thing. Let me group it, so it doesn't matter where I do until I ungroup it, they will both move together. Let's do that. Let's position it. Let's move it down into place like so. Set that up. Again, the tool layer lines, the blue lines, I can just see them hovering on the layer itself. That one could possibly be a little more over, and it's fractional. There, that's too far. There we go. I think we're good. Just check this one. I think that's good too. So now if I want to, I can check into my cut layers, and I only want to engrave it. So if I leave it where that is now, I'm going to have a heck of a job, because I'm going to have a whole load of tiny little letters and holes in my wood. No good at all. So I've got to adjust this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer to what I've done in the past, and I'm going to see where I need to adjust these. But hopefully I've shown you the aspect of how you can set up the camera here with the objects that you've got to engrave, and set your engraving or your burn or whatever you're trying to do in there without having to use the frame tool or guess at it or anything else. I've got to say that using a camera is a remarkable upgrade and well worth the use. So okay, so I'm going to shut the lid. I'm going to turn this on. You can hear it firing up. The fan assist is going. Interesting enough, watching this go across now, if I come back to the camera control, you can see what's happening, that the laser is actually burning both at once. Okay, so the burn is done, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the outcome. And these are the two pieces, and as you can see, they have done a really splendid job of the engraving. Now, I will admit that my burn settings were just a little bit too aggressive, and the engraving is a lot deeper than I first thought it would be. That said, I can lessen those on another one. It's all a learning curve, and the burn or the engraving will be somewhat quicker. But I'm not unhappy with that. I think that it really has done a beautiful job, and none of these moved. These stayed exactly where they were when I put them in there, and all the way through to the end. So there was no problem with the air assist causing an issue with moving the projector tool or the timber base. Now it does highlight how good it is to have a camera, built-in camera, to a laser engraver, because that has saved me tons and tons of trying to trial and error, working out exactly where the material is to place the design on it. So I really can't emphasize enough how good it is to have that onboard camera to lessen the problems. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to go clean this up and give it a varnish and show you right at the end the finished product. Okay everybody, well, just as a final heads up, here are the two finished labels that I created, and I've given them a nice light sanding so that they're not going to cause a problem with splinters or anything, and at the same time I've given them a lovely coating of Rustin's Danish oil, which is an interior exterior product, and it's just giving them a nice mattish finish, and it will give them some protection outside in the elements. But I mean, they're not going to last forever, but they're a bit of fun, and they, as I say, go to show you how you can use the camera on the Creality Falcon 2 Pro to its best advantages and do tons of projects similar to this or anything else that you wish to do. Okay everybody, I do hope you enjoyed that and got something from the process. Now if you are thinking of buying one of these bad boys, then yeah, why not? I mean, it is a fantastic unit. I have had another one and I showed you that a few months ago. This one is on a whole new level. It has so much sophistication in terms of safety and the camera and the lights and everything else in this unit. And the fact that it comes pre-assembled, apart from that little bit, is such a, yeah, it takes all the worry of getting something wrong away from you. So I couldn't recommend it enough. And I wanted to get into laser engraving because I wanted to create unique original items, bespoke items for the new Sandling Junction build as and when they come up. And that started with those tunnel portals a couple of weeks ago. And I haven't forgotten, they will be done, and I am videoing them as, well, not as we speak, but almost. I'm going up there after this one. But, you know, I just wanted to get into engraving for that reason. I wanted, and there's nothing wrong with all the generic items out there that you can buy from shops and big manufacturers that, you know, are a resin kit or a card kit or anything else. Not mentioning any names, but there's nothing wrong with any of that. But the fact is that I wanted something that's completely mine. No one else had it, and it would fit on my Sandling Junction. So the only way I can do that is to scratch build, which is nothing wrong with that either, or to make the job a little easier and a little more interesting by getting myself into laser engraving, possibly even liquid or filament engraving later on down the road. But certainly for the moment, I really am enjoying the idea of being able to create structures and forms and objects and infrastructure on my new layout using one of these. So if you are thinking of getting one, then I can't recommend the Creality Falcon 2 Pro enough. I know they're not cheap, but this is the baby of the two bundles that you can buy, and there is a discount code in the show more tab underneath this video, so you can use that and save a little bit more. But if you've got any questions, give me a call and I will either get the answer or have the answer. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, have a look at it, get involved. And I'm going to get off now because I've got a tunnel portal to finish painting and filming. And I'll catch you all in the next video, guys and girls. So take care wherever you are. Stay safe. Have fun with your layout. Enjoy everything about it. Catch you all soon in the next video. Bye-bye.